Oh, I hate when it does that. Oh, great start to the video as usual. Right, here we go. We're going. My videos are cracking. Right, I want to make sure that this loads up in 2015. So I'm going to do open with on the solution file. Choose default program. Mine says RC still. I don't know why, but I'm making sure it says always use. So that'll disable 2013 in effect. Just wait for it to load up. Right, so by default, we need to open Solution Explorer. Let me just lock that by clicking that little pin. Right, I'll set the resolution first. So I'm going to go to Setup and Storage, which has got the assets bit in it. Billy, shut up. Yes. Right, so a couple of bits that we want to change. By default, I can't remember why I did this, but I've got the game engine running at 300 frames a second. The logic. We don't need it to go that fast, so we're going to reduce that to 100. But this is the screen size. You'll use this as a reference all through the game whenever you're trying to like position stuff at the left-hand side and what have you. So this one's 1500 by 740, which is a weird shape. So I'm going to do, not that big, 1280 by 720. Okay. Just to check that that's worked, I'm just going to run it. Hope I haven't broken it. There you go. That's a better widescreen shape. Okay. If I want it to be 800 by 600, same job. Or if I want it, yeah. Oops, not 6. Oh, come on. Right. So if I want it to be that size, it'll be that size. Okay. Right. The other thing, I will update the game engine from time to time. Now, by default, you can't. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. If you go on properties, it should. No, it's not saying. It will sometimes tell you what version of it. No. Oh, well, it doesn't say. Right. There is one way of doing it. If we go into the title container and we turn on engine debugging output, so debug, display, and debug, and we do version, it will display on screen when I run it. So this is version 26, so this is ancient. Okay, right, so I'm going to update my game engine, which is these 3 files in the engine folder. So I'm going to right click on engine, and you all need to do this, add existing item, and then we navigate to the student shared bit. Applied IT, game programming resources, X and A engine versions, and the current version is 30. Okay, it'll instantly come up with nothing because it doesn't look for executables. So just set all files, grab all 3. Now the DLL is the library, the PDB is all the debug symbols. Okay, so it's got debug information in there, and the XML is all the help, all the comments from the code. So you need all 3 of them. It'll ask you if you want to replace them. Yes. So when I run it now, it should say 30 in the version number. There you go. So that's version 30. Okay. Which has got a load of cool things for videos. Right. So that's some basic setup. Now, I don't want on my title screen it going to another screen, that one that was purple. So I've got an event here in the title container which goes off and does the score display, which I don't want. So I'm just going to comment that out. Don't ever delete things to start with, because you don't know, you might want to know, how do I do that again? So we can do that. Right. The next thing, I don't want the cursor because I'm not going to make a point and click game. So I'm going to look for cursor file. One of the nice things about 2015 is it actually opens a file just when you move the mouse and select it. You don't have to double click, but it does this like temporary pin, calls it a preview. If you want to keep it open, you just click on that. Okay, right, so the cursor sprite, I don't know, I don't want to delete it, but I want to disable it. But I don't know where it's been used. So I'm going to click on this reference thing. And I'm going to find the references. And it shows me where they are. So there's obviously a few references inside cursor. They're okay. But it's this one I want. So I'm going to click on that. Double click. And it takes to me where the cursor's made. And I'm just going to get rid of that by commenting it out. So that disables the cursor for those that don't want it. Right. Next bit, assets. We want to load up some graphics. There's a couple of steps. So inside assets, all the settings are at the top. So we got the file manager, and I'll come on to that another time. Throttling, we want it to throttle, so we run at the refresh rate of the screen. There's the update rate and the screen size. Down here, just a little bit further down, is where we store all our textures. So all your graphics are going to get loaded into textures. So I'm going to create a texture 2D, because that's what they are. Use the picker to help, and I'm going to prefix it with TX, so that when I'm typing, the picker, if I put TX and I can't remember what the graphic was, it'll find it for me. Okay. I then move down to this preloader method. Okay, and it looks complicated because it's got all this weird thing like a delegate. That's actually really cool. What that is that's a function that I've defined without having to bother to define a function. Okay, so I create the function there. That's the actual function. So I can put it in. It's really nice. It makes this simple. So I'm going to copy and paste that line because that's how I load a graphic. Okay, and I need to tell it what graphic to load. So at the minute, that's the example sprite. So in the graphics folder, you'll see that there's a sprite in there. So I'm going to add my new graphic to, I haven't got any graphics, so I've got to find a picture now. So this should be funny. What rubbishy pictures? Oh, that one. That'll do me. That's going to be my background graphic. So I'm going to add it to the project. And then I need to say in assets what texture I'm going to load it into. So I'll show you the picker working. So I'm going to say TX. Oh, and it was back. And don't delete the graphics / bit. But I need to put the name of the file without the extension. You don't put the PNG or JPEG or whatever at the end. Okay. I will know that this has worked if I try and run it. Because if I spelt the file name wrong, and I'll show you the error you get. Right, so that looks like that's worked. If I spell that wrong, you'll get an error message. And it'll say file couldn't be found or something like that. The loader's crashed actually. I will cancel that. Okay, and there it is. Graphics back.fw does not exist. You've got to read the error messages that you get because they generally will be helpful, even though they look hideous. Okay, but there is information. So all I've got to do to fix that is just put the correct. Oh, stop it running. That's the no. So I called it back in like that. Right. So that is the basics. I'll stop this video here. So let me just quickly recap. I've updated the engine by right clicking on an engine, going to where the engines were in the student shared. In the assets, I have changed the screen res and made sure the update rate was at 100. You can leave it at 300 if you want, but you might have to change it if it slows down a bit. I went into basic container and I commented out the cursor because I don't want a cursor, but if you want a cursor, keep it. In the title container, I commented out the event that went to the high score display, which you might not want, so we'll get rid of that. And then in assets, I defined a texture to hold my background graphic, and I copied and pasted, and that's all you've got to do. Just copy and paste and change the texture and the file name of the graphic I wanted to load up. Okay, making sure the graphic is in the graphics folder. All right, so that's the basic setup. Okay, I'll stop that vid there, and then I'll just show you how to create a background really quick.